Oprah finally responded, and I'm going to show you a specific part of that clip, and then we'll talk after.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online.
She just confirmed what I said last week in my video. Multimillionaires and billionaires do not value the opinions of people that they believe have less value than them. They will instead view it as haters, people who are not as happy as them, who are not doing as well as them. In the video that I posted last week, I explained how there is no self-reflection when it comes to multimillionaires and billionaires. I got a lot of hate because I mentioned that I've had family and friends that are multimillionaires, and I know the way they think because I've been in that surrounding and I've heard them talk. And then I got hate, people saying I was trying to show off or anything, but that was not the point of my video. The point of my video is I remember sitting in rooms listening to people that have millions of dollars completely not respect anybody that has anything less than them. They don't take our opinion. They don't self-reflect and say, wait a minute, maybe I should listen. Maybe it's not criticism. Maybe it's just like a different viewpoint than mine. But if you just heard Oprah, she said exactly that. I was vilified and it was criticized. Not everybody did that. There's a lot of people who are like Oprah, hey, not cool. Some people were just saying, hey, there's a lot of people in the world that don't have money, and we think that you should ask your multimillionaire and billionaire friends instead of asking us. That's it. The only way that Oprah would self-reflect is if another billionaire or multimillionaire sat with her and explained it to her. She respects them because she thinks they're on her level. Because people with money view their value with their money. They don't believe that people are just valuable because they exist. They believe that their success and their money makes them more valuable. So if you have anything less than that, they will not value your opinion. So everything that we are saying to Oprah, she is blocking your ears, and she's surrounded by multimillionaires who are telling her, don't listen to the haters. When people are not haters, people are just saying, hey, it's not cool. Don't ask regular people for money. If you want to ask millionaires or multimillionaires or billionaires for money, go ahead, do that, have fun. I'm going to show you another part of the video and I'm going to add to this.
Because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul? If
it would have taken you down.
It would have taken, it will take you out.
If I were to hurt someone with my words unintentionally, because apparently Oprah had no intention to hurt anybody by asking for money, but if I were to do, thousands, millions of people were hurt by my words and by my actions. There is a happy balance where we can self-reflect and say, hold on, even though it wasn't my intention, let me either correct what I'm doing, let me self-reflect, maybe do something different, maybe have compassion for the people who are very upset. And the other side of the balance is not taking in the extreme hate. So for all the people who did really, really hate on Oprah, she could have filtered through those ones and then self-reflected on the people who actually had something important to say. Because the people of Maui even had a lot of things to say about Oprah, and she still said no, it was just hate all around. So at the end of the other video, what I explained is billionaires and multimillionaires don't give a shit what we have to say. They will not self-reflect. They will think we're haters, and we're not haters. Most of us are not haters. Most of us just say, hey, that's not cool. That's it. No matter how bad the situation looks, I always think there's some good that comes out of everything. The one thing that I noticed online that gave me a lot of hope is no matter what kind of background or values or beliefs people had, it's like the people were uniting for this. Like a lot of people were saying, hey, that's not cool. It didn't matter their political views. It didn't matter. Everybody was kind of uniting and saying, hey, I don't feel good about this. But I've been wanting to see it in the world is unity. And I know this is unfortunate, but there's 1% of people that carry 99% of the wealth in the world. And there's 99% of people that carry 1% of the wealth. But that 99% is uniting, and it's really nice to see. As I said in my other video, it's okay to get angry. It's okay to feel those emotions, but remember to redirect your energy to yourself because they don't care if we're angry. So redirect and give yourself some love.
I'm just going to start this post by saying I love you guys and I will miss you guys because if Chris Rock wasn't going to cut my breaks, and Oprah obviously will. With that said, Oprah has finally responded to the backlash she received for starting that People's Fund 2 weeks ago. Let's rate her response on a scale of 1 to 10. So here we are almost 2 weeks later and Team Oprah's plan has been reviewed, edited, adjusted, tested, and approved, and she's on CBS this morning. I will post a full video in the comments. It is 4 minutes long, so for the sake of this video, we're just going to do clips, watch it, and come back. To start, we have this anchor man. We cannot call them journalists because they are not impartial or unbiased. Throwing a very clearly pre-screened softball question to Ms. Winfrey about the backlash she received. And instead of like a conversation or, any sort of like subsequent questions, he just sort of like bolsters everything Oprah says. Here's what we get. First things first, Oprah's a victim here.
On that.
Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online. I will say this, I came out of this experience, I was saying this to Arthur this morning, with so much more compassion for young kids, because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul?
Ma'am.
It will take you out. Yeah. So all of the online, being
slander and
attacks, lies, conspiracy theories.
You cannot tell a bunch of people who already think y'all eat babies that you have the assurance of anything running through your soul. They're going to ask you how much you pay per ounce, hun. Anyway, back to the people of Maui. She talks about being on the ground and not being sure how to help.
I was on the ground talking to lots of people, trying to figure out how do I best help. And
I have written about Oprah and Maui at length on my Substack over the last few weeks, even stepping in to defend her because, yes, she is a villain, but she is not even close to being that island's biggest villain. Oprah, in her current iteration, in her current being, moves between like 3 different identities. She is a reporter and a journalist in one sense. She is this like enlightened being, and she's also a political figure. She still can't piece together how to use those 3 things to help her neighbors. Her first instinct was to go into journalist mode, was to get a crew together, was to start reporting on the ground, like trying to bring cameras into shelters, which she was rightfully turned away from doing. But once that happened, her journalist era stopped. She did not bring those cameras into police and political press conferences. She didn't sit in the press pen as a reporter and as a journalist to ask hard-hitting questions. It stopped right there. Despite it being her second home, she's not from Pennsylvania. She's not from Georgia. Maui politics, Hawaiian politics are the only political universe she stays out of. When you have the political access and information that Oprah has, access to former presidents, to current presidents, to Barack, to Michelle, to Cory Booker, to every single person, you don't sit when there's like devastation, natural disasters in your neighborhood and say, I don't know where to start. The idea for the Maui Fund didn't come from her consulting her political network. It came from Gail's son, who she says in the next clip, sent her a link to what Dolly Parton did in 2017, 2018, when there were fires in Tennessee.
Called it My People's Fund. She had a concert. She raised $12.5 million and then directly gave it to the people, $1,000 a month. I thought, whoa, that's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if she knows this, but a lot has changed since 2017, 2018. The American people have been through a lot of devastation since then, and what they consider to be a minimum bar of sufficient handling, support, anything is a lot higher than it used to be. Again, this is just me talking, but I feel like Oprah's obvious failure in this entire crisis is what I would call a lack of citizenry. Oprah's playing catch up on how to be a neighbor in Maui. She wants to be hands-on, but it's also just showing how isolated she's been up in her lair.
Any of us who've ever been to any benefit, you know, you go to a benefit and somebody gives $10 million, that's called a good night.
Right.
Ma'am, not many people have been to benefits or in benefits circles. Anyway, I'm dying. This ends how like every meeting in corporate America ends, where like a Black woman makes her point, her very clear point, and like a white guy who sat there the entire time and like non-participatory silence has to chime in to repeat it. Just to like get his moment, to like get the last point in and be like the last face and the last voice anybody hears in a meeting.
But here's the point. Here's Oprah's point. If you take your time, your money, your resources, your life.
Okay, with that all said, I would rate Oprah's response a 1 out of 10 in human, earthly numbers. I am not sure how that converts to whatever universe Oprah's on, though. Her response should have just been like 3 little tiny talking points, which would be 1, to just dismiss any harm that she has. You know, I'm healthy, I'm housed, I don't lose anything in that fire. Nothing anybody would ever say to me online would even compare to what the people of Maui are going through. Number 2, just re-educate people on what your actual role is. You know, there are a lot of really great teams on the ground working across a lot of other things, working to recover, to rebuild, to rectify the issues happening in Maui. This is one part that I knew I can just take on, so I did. 3, you know, talk about the success that you've had, which she actually did. It's the one thing she actually did touch on in there amongst the other ego things. But like, you know, to date we've had X amount of, signups and X amount of verifications and the site, blah, 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 blah. So she did that, which is why she gets 1 point.
Oprah thinks she has figured out why Americans are so unhappy.
Why do you think we're in a happiness slump in America?
Ooh, I will tell you, one of the most profound reasons, I think, is because everybody is looking at other people's social media.
Wrong. Here's the real reason.
Americans are getting poorer and it's getting harder to make ends meet.
What they believe to be other people's lives, which is only a snapshot of other people's lives, and feeling envy about that.
The word isn't envy, Oprah. It is anger. We are angry. Americans are unhappy because we can barely take care of our families as the rich are getting richer, because our government doesn't represent us, because we're headed toward an environmental collapse, because we can't trust the food in our grocery stores is safe to eat. But while we're talking about comparing ourselves to others on social media...
Whoa! Whoa! I love a beautiful charcuterie! This excites me.
I'm not envious of your charcuterie. I'm angry that you have the audacity to flaunt your excessive lifestyle when so many Americans are suffering.
Poverty rate rose to 12.4% in 2022. That's up from 7.8% in 2021, the largest one-year jump on record, and accounts for about 40 million Americans. These higher poverty rates are obviously also related to the increased costs for essentials like food and housing.
Meanwhile, in Oprah's new book, she wants you to stop blaming the outside world for your problem. She's going to teach you how to improve your life right now instead of waiting for the outside world to change. It's all up to you. There's nothing holding you back. The audacity.
And one of the things that Arthur and I talk about in this book is that envy is the great destroyer.
The happiness killer.
Yes, Nora, the happiness killer. What a bootlicker. This is why we don't trust the old news network. CBS is just running ads. This is an ad for a book, an ad for a billionaire. These people are delusional. They're living in their own psycho world. Do not trust anyone at the top of this capitalist pyramid, and do not trust the corporations who do their bidding.